Right, we have one more speaker before lunch, so bear with us. We have Dave Howden, the CEO from Superhuman AI, and he's here to talk about us around automation with Gen AI in action. So the real kendo, and it's around real use cases across Aotearoa. Dave, as the CEO of Superhuman AI, which is a boutique Gen AI solutions provider, is at the forefront of automating complex tasks using generative AI. Our forum has been fortunate enough to work alongside Dave and his team as we did a pilot on a living large language model white paper, which we spoke to in May. It has been a work of joy and challenge as we understand how generative AI is changing so frequently and quickly. You can't have just a non-living paper. Dave leads a team of over 20 AI engineers, each holding a PhD or Masters in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, and he's dedicated to freeing intelligent minds from tedious work, and the team builds and manages AI Copilot. So Dave, welcome to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm what stands between you and lunch. So we're going to make it pretty high energy, relatively pointy, and as Megan says, we're really going to be focusing on not numbers, stats, charts, and global insights, but we're going to be looking at the specifics of what's happening here in Aotearoa, and possibly a little bit of what's happening over in Australia as well, because if we missed the map, they get a little bit upset. I must say this, I'm used to speaking in front of industry groups, which is very different because my anxiety levels were a bit higher today. There's a lot of people in here that I know and I've worked with in the past, and there's also a very big handful of superhuman customers. So it's up to me to get it right, and accountability stops with the CEO, so I get told. And we're here to put on a good show for you guys. Any questions, please pop them into Slido, because we're going to try and get through this at a good pace and to give time for questions, especially because we're talking about AI in action, things that are real world. A bit of a promise before I get into it. There are three things that I want you guys to take away today. And this is my promise to you. The first is we're going to make this real. We're not going to talk too much hype. The second is there will be no hype. And the third thing is I really want you guys to leave with a little bit of knowledge that will help you move forward. So I appreciate there's researchers in the room, there's vendors, there's a whole heap of different specialisms. This is really focused on the business owner, the director, the person with the problem, which may not be you. So feel free to get up and leave. I won't be offended. But I'll see you out there at lunch. Let's start with a little bit of a quote. AI is like teenage sex. We're being provocative for a reason, because this actually underpins a huge problem that we have in this industry. It creates a bit of a pressure cooker. The reality is for AI, as you've seen today, as you've seen from all the conversation from Google and the rest of the vendors and all of the industry insights, there's so much noise in and around this. AI, we really think that this would superhuman. This is not my quote, by the way, I haven't made this up. There's no liability on me for this. But everyone's talking about it, no one knows how to do it, and everyone thinks everyone else is doing a great job. And to an extent, that's kind of true. Now, if you look at the survey that went out recently, I think there's like 70% of businesses are saying they're doing AI. Yet yesterday, in the workshops that were ran by the major cloud providers, out of like 40 people in the room, only 2 people put their hand up. So the question is actually, how deep are people going? And what is the version of I am doing it? Well, it, in AI in this instance. So it's creating a bit of a pressure cooker, because the reality is everyone wants to say they're going deep on certain things. And, we just want to kind of like unmask that a little bit, but the reality about who is doing what and how. And not everyone says the how, because it gives away a little bit of the secret sauce, but obviously we're going to go down that road today. So I'm Dave Howden, co-founder of Superhuman, and we started this business last year because between the co-founders of the team, we just knew that looking forward there had to be a better way. What we believe by a better way is we have very, very smart people doing quite a lot of dumb stuff. And that does lead to the numbers of the stats we saw earlier this morning around how we unlock this 100% productivity growth and adding $78 billion worth of productivity to the business, to the industry. But there's so much dumb stuff being done we just know there is a better way. And with generative AI coming to the forefront, we decided to build a talent pool of those who carry a master's or a PhD in this technology for the purposes of partnering with organisations to take them on that journey. All for the reason of freeing smart people from tedious work, or stopping smart people doing dumb stuff. So a bit of a history lesson before we get into it. Can anybody have a guess what year this photo was taken? Might be a few clues in the picture. Can anybody guess who it is? It's me. I was 2 years old, and this was 1985. 1985? Okay, 1985. And the reason that I put this on there is that since I was 2 years old in 1985, a lot of things have happened. We've seen personal computing, Web 1, mobile comms, social media, IoT and cloud, more recently blockchain, and even more recently the emergence of generative AI. Now, I'm 40 next year. I know I look younger, thank you. But the reality is this was kind of all built on the internet generation. Like personal computing was kind of before the internet generation, but when you look at this in terms of the huge changes there, every one of you in the room who's operated in business has at some point gone through the thinking of how do I apply this to my business to create value? AI is no different. We're just seeing it come at a lot quicker pace and a lot more transformational power. So the playbook is written. Because we've done it before. We'll do it again, and there'll be something after, but also unlocks value. The playbook is written. So we don't need to make this stuff up. We've been around. And as the Honourable Judith Collins said this morning, she's been around numerous years and seen all the playbooks under the sun. I've just had a few less playbooks. Many less playbooks. She's not still there, is she? So the internet changed the world. And it did. And everything before we just showed was the internet bringing to life this hyper-connected model with like businesses being born out of every iteration of technology. But this is no hype in my view. I think generative AI is going to dwarf that change. For the purposes of what Google described on stage earlier on, as it's now sounding and feeling and living like us. Technology never before has mimicked and mirrored our personality and our type. And for that, it's a whole reimagining of work. Now, there is a bit of a villain in this story. The hype is the villain. The noise is the villain. Because with every piece of anxiety that comes from trying to compete and saying we're doing stuff with AI, it slows the progress of the country because you actually can't really get to the meat and the potatoes and do the thinking when you're scrabbling around trying to think how you use lightweight AI. We mean lightweight like chat. We mean lightweight like, in some instances, co-pilots, because there is such deep, complex thinking that can be engineered these days that when you scratch beyond on the surface, you can really unlock some significant value, and it's not surface value at all, and that is clouding the judgment. Now, whilst we're looking at villains, there are some superheroes in the room, and today we're going to have a look at some of those superheroes because they are some of our clients, and they've agreed to take a look at some of their work and unpack the work that they're doing to unlock value and free their smart people from tedious work. But before we get into the use cases and how this is being unlocked for ANZ businesses, let's take a step back. Since I've been in business and the time before me, and I think going into the future, I think there are three universal things that happen in business or are considered in business. The last one is that I've never met a business that doesn't want to grow. And unless there's anybody in here that wants to, that's good. I've never met a business that doesn't want to grow. I've never met a business that doesn't want to be more efficient and also doesn't want to be more risky. And the application of every technology that we've seen over time, that thinking has modeled that process of how does this technology or service or process or consultancy dollar that's spent, how does it help me grow? How does it help me be more efficient? And how does it help me reduce risk? And when we're applying the use cases of AI to our clients, the model is exactly the same. The formula is the same. How can we identify a growth opportunity? How can we identify an efficiency opportunity? And how can we identify a risk opportunity? Now, I'm asking lots of questions, which is not useful. We want to provide some answers. We're going to get on to the answers in a sec. So a question. This is a question that we pose to the heroes of the story, which are our clients. Where have you got smart people doing dumb stuff? And then the question that they ask me is, what is dumb stuff? Well, I have two eyes and these digits. And I can only read so quickly and I can only type so fast. And the reality is we're asking our customers, in your workflow, whether it's complex engineering through to writing travel itineraries or dealing with complex legislation, where in that workflow have you got the smart people that understand maxed out by the speed at which they can read and the speed at which they can type? And it's surprising when you map these processes on a wall and you go, well, scratch that, because a lot of these things are possible to remove that overhead. That is the key to unlocking potential. Now, use cases. We talked a lot about use cases today. These are some of the ones that we're talking about. In your organisation, where are you writing complex reports? Where are you doing audits, managing for compliance, looking for insights across a large data set? Now, the key is here, and this becomes quite a frustration, I think, for everybody in the room, is that what is that use case for AI? Well, the reality is your business is your business. Your intellectual property is your intellectual property, and your use case is your use case. It's going to differ. And I was talking to Steve from SmartSpace earlier on, and I was using the analogy of, it's like saying what's the use case for a laptop. Like, you use it for what you use it for. And AI really is no different. We kind of just need to dig deeper, dig a lot deeper, and figure out, well, what's your workflow, and then how can we shift that left to the use of AI. Now, AI in this instance is not one thing. It's multiple things. And we do get a little vexed, I think, in terms of thinking that there is one technology or solution to solve it. This is where we come in to help unlock that engineering and pulling all things together. But the reality here is, like, the use case is your use case, and only you can know. And that's where we want to come in and help you out. So let's do some maths. How do we get to the equation? Your world, your business, your processes. They're yours. This is what we consider your world. What are your policies, procedures, intellectual property and data, accountabilities and brand? Now, if you take those constituent parts, which for most of you exist, if you dug around SharePoint or Google Drive or Confluence or whatever, or even the multiple systems that you have, you'll probably find these things. You probably won't be happy with what you find, because this has been a 90 percentile feedback from my clients. Yeah, we haven't got everything. But that's kind of the intellectual property of your business and how it runs. If we take your world and we design specific experiences to take your world and digitize the workflow that happens in your business, the high value stuff, we really then start to get to the magic. Now, this is far more than having knowledge and chat. This is about taking very complex work that your teams do, where you need multiple inputs, legislation, law, your own intellectual property, your own internal policies and procedures, and getting to a high-value output really, really quickly. So let's put that into context of a client we're working with right now who's using our services for IT support. IT support is not a manual from your product vendor. It's the interdependencies of what your customers use. It's your incident policies, your procedures, your change management processes, all to get to an output about how you get work done. Reasoning with all of that is possible with good engineering. It's no good knowing how to fix something if it breaks something else. And that's the interweaving of all of this data between your policies, procedures, and all of your supply chains data as well. I'm saying a lot of words, it sounds complex. It's fair to say that this actually isn't that complex when you take a step back and figure out what the constituent parts are. But I do agree with the context of what people have been saying today. Start small, but think big and realize that you can move the needle just by getting going. Now, before we shift on to the customers that are doing this and working on this with us, what we just put on the slides there, we reference that as organisational intelligence. It's the combining of all of the bits, CRM, ERP, institutional knowledge, all for the purposes of finding work and automating it. Again, it's an interesting one about the use cases, because we find that build something and see how people use it is actually quite a good way to figure out what the use cases are sometimes. That just fly in the face of what we've already taught, though, which is, I'm not buying anything until I know what I'm going to get. We're in kind of a different world now, I think. The brave are being rewarded for that. So here are 12 customers that have agreed to work with us recently. We didn't force them. We've done over 100 projects now deploying generative AI services. For the purposes of this, we're going to talk about 3 of these specifically, but you can see that they're wildly different in the use cases that are being solved. But some of them now are absolutely golden. Let's touch on these 3. Novel heroes wear capes, apart from the guys at House of Travel. Travel consultancy got absolutely blown up in COVID, with a lot of staff moving in and out of that industry. I think it's fair to say that Creating bespoke travel itineraries for people with complex needs is quite a lengthy task. By combining institutional knowledge across all of the systems, booking systems, 30 years worth of travel knowledge, House of Travel have taken the creation of itineraries literally down to seconds, and responding to their corporate sales RFPs was a 2 to 3 day process, actually a week process, and now we have to less than a couple of hours to solve for that. Tedious work, high value. I don't want to wait 2 hours for my travel consultant to give me an itinerary. I want to know how it can be catered for straight away. Our forum, Megan mentioned this, we worked with, where's Matt? Matt Ensor in the room? Or we'll go for Madeline. Madeline in the, Bob and looking at the map. Living white paper, a 2-month or so project with the AI Forum and the members of the Large Language Model Working Group to look at, can we crack the problem of institutional academic research and writing academic white papers to crafted for the user, crafted for the reader instantly, as opposed to taking 6 months to write them and they're only looking for one person. We delivered that project in May, and we look forward to continuing the work alongside Google Cloud and AI Forum. So the tech stack for this one was all built on Google Vertex AI. They were the financial sponsor for that, which was awesome. And everything was with OpenAI for the House of Travel piece. And the final one, which we're really proud of, is Carpet Court. And this is actually Carpet Court Australia. Carpet Court Australia sell 400,000 products per year. Around 7% of those equal into a warranty claim. They sell 80,000 SKUs of products, and they have a whole team of people dealing with warranty claims. My floor is discoloured, my carpet is something, I don't peed on my carpet, whatever warranty claims look like. But the reality is, having a team of people that have intimate knowledge about how you install flooring for the purposes of assessing warranty claims, like, that is smart people doing dumb stuff. It does not need to be the way. We've fully automated that process now, alongside Carpet Court. And you can see here the potential monetary savings that this can come back to. The reality is how you unlock that value and bring it, in terms of unlocking it back to the P&L, is totally up to you. But the upside is pretty instant. And these are live environments now that are in production and driving value today. This is not hearsay, it's happening. These are the heroes amongst us, not always wearing capes. So I want to kind of circle back before we wrap up and go back to the core about why Superhuman was founded. It's a privilege to be here today as a diamond sponsor, working alongside Madeline and the AI Forum and ANZ Tech. We're a business less than a year old. But when you bring a group of people together that live and breathe this stuff, it's amazing what you can get done. Who's an expert in this field? No one really. When you amass the right talent together though and look at good engineering and work to best practice, it's amazing what you can get done. And we want to work with customers who get it, want it, and got the capability to push the boundaries. And thank you to those who are in the room who work with us and have done that as well. A big shout out to the Superhuman team. If you're here, just throw your hands up in the air. You guys have been rock stars for the last year, so I want to thank you for that. But there's a few key things that we've learned. One is there is consistently a better way. The second is building this stuff yourself can be hard. And the surveys that we've done across Australia and New Zealand do say you guys want someone local, someone specialist, and someone that wants to lean into your business. That's how we do business. So if you are looking for that support, we're here for you. And as a parting gift, we want to talk about ROI quickly. Now, this is a parting gift for you. It's actually a part of the process we go through here at Superhuman about how we work with you and figure out use cases. This is our gift to you. This is for every one of our clients that works with us. And we run a 90-minute AI ROI, I think it's probably changed the name of that, workshop. For the purposes of this, everyone's talking about return on investment. Very difficult to kind of do the maths. We've just seen enough now over the last year or so to kind of have the plumbing done on the maths about how we help you build the business cases for change and what the likely investment can look like. And this is what you get when you work with us on these 90-minute workshops. We help you with use case design, we look at technical feasibility. We help you support and drive the return on investment metrics and help you underpin that investment. And we hand that over to you as the asset. Help you move forward, figure that out. And the most important thing of today is the QR code to get access to those workshops. Take a picture of that, fill out the form, and we'll happily contact you to book those workshops in. But more importantly, We're here to solve problems and work with you guys and take New Zealand to the next level. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Pass it back to Megan. I have 26 seconds to go. So I feel like I've met my obligation of being on time.
You certainly have.
Yeah. This is the second time we've done this together, so thank you for hosting.
No, it's fantastic to have you here. And I feel like I almost dressed apart. My cape is one of the superheroes. So, very good. Yes, good. And I think it's actually quite a good question. And maybe you touched on it, maybe your workshop is part of this, but there was a question around there's lots of apps and info on how to start using AI for organisations, and it's a little bit overwhelming for these businesses. So what's the best way just for them to start?
I think looking at it from an app by app basis is going to be a slippery slope, because the reality is, why are you looking at an app? You need a problem for the app in the first place, if I'm understanding the question correctly. So where we can support you is that, because we've done 100 plus projects in this space now, we've kind of seen a fair amount of stuff. And whilst the intellectual property that we have on behalf of our customers is not shared, there's just a sentiment about, okay, cool, let's help you unpack your workflow, let's see where we can apply some, yes, that's possible, no, that's not possible. But if we go solution first, then we're kind of looking at things the wrong way around. Like, we're just trying to find a nail to hit with a hammer. We kind of need to figure out what we're building first. And a lot of the time, we go through these workshops, 9 times out of 10, we're digging for gold and we find it. 10%, we're like, sure, just go and use Salesforce and Einstein. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of moments like that. We don't invest as you don't need to invest. But I guarantee this in the room. There'll be customers here this will just go, yes, this makes sense. Do you have the same CRM, ERP, and finance provider? Probably not. And on that basis, you've got data in all different silos. So going and buying an app and taking what HubSpot peddle and what Salesforce peddle and what Microsoft are doing, it doesn't give you organizational intelligence, it gives you siloed intelligence. You need to stitch it all together to kind of get that view. And it's amazing what you can do with a relatively small CapEx budget. We're not talking multi-million-dollar projects here. You can get a lot done for 50K. It's very efficient to get down the road.
Great.
On the 15th of December, we wear that proudly because, we're not going to say we've been around for ages when we haven't. But when you amass the right talent together and work on your muscle, I've not been doing that, but it's amazing what you can do together. And look, we're really proud of the logos we're working with. None of it's hearsay, it's production.
No,
we're proud of it.
That's right, and we've been on the receiving end. There is a question from the room, and it's one that's close to my heart. I know you're early in your infancy as an organisation, but are you thinking about an approach to supporting minority-based organisations?
Yeah, interestingly, we partnered early partnership with an organisation down in Wellington around looking at the cultural impact of the cultural competency of organisations in New Zealand. And we've got the same relationship over. In fact, there's an organisation called Indigenous.ai. I think they're a global institute, which a cohort from Australia and New Zealand partake in. And we approach this, and we haven't talked about it today, but part of building AI is the cultural competency of that, and how do we weave in the biculturalism of bicultural policies of organisations into the output to make sure that the tide rises with everybody. And I would say it's challenging. It's not the first thing customers think of in terms of how do we weave the biculturalism of the Indigenous in Australia and New Zealand demographic together. But it is a core piece that we go through. In fact, we have a personality engine specifically for that, where it is what is the cultural competency of the business. And we lean on literature from the Ministry of Education to support them actually best class Indigenous policies. We weave that into the work that we do. But it's customer-led. We kind of meet with customers where they're at. We just provide the tools to get into gear.
Great. And now Benny, where's Benny? Who's Benny? Benny is another high person who's been asking lots of questions.
Good to see you again, by the way, sir. Yeah.
He said that Sakana, which I presume is an organisation, has got a team of AI scientists collaborating and researching. The cost of research factor is around $15. Do you foresee AI agentic B2C platforms for building in the app?
I think I understand your question. I think I can go back to the gaming conversation before. I think it's an element of how much control do you want to trust at the time of creation, and how much do you see that intelligence is based on your decision-making framework. So, for example, if I put 10 years worth of my own creative content and thinking and thoughts into an AI, 99 times that's going to be something that represents me. But buying a tool off the shelf and expecting it to do the work that you would do to the standard that you want, it'll be very good, but will it represent your thought process? And that's the investment that people need to make in thinking like personal AI over time. You're going to see this with Apple and the mobile providers. It's how much you're going to lean on that like personality, design, and knowledge, like intrinsic knowledge, to push into those systems. So I'll kind of headline the end. This kind of makes sense. It's very early. A lot is possible. AI is going to become more personal over time to allow those things to become a little bit more unlocked. But right now, it's a business game as opposed to a B2C game for the purposes of unlocking mass productivity. But I think it will get there as your personality type and style gets more and more embedded into AI training for the purposes of this.
Great, that's great notes, Ethan. Thank you very much, Dave. It's a superhuman around this.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy that.
And we are